I don't think it was working properly. There we go. So you can never get life wrong, Caroline. Can you still hear me, Caroline? Life doesn't belong to somebody. It's happening. And then there's this energy, this extra part that life plays, of this energy of claiming life. I am choosing, I am doing. Have you got anything else to say, Caroline? Or anything else to ask?
It's quite clear now. It's quite clear. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you very much.
And I see that you've got a question, Colin. I'll just read it out as well. Okay. Hey, Lisa. Hey again, Lisa. I have noticed a few things lately. They have really hit me. For example, the assumption we make little that is such a thing as past or future outside thought. It struck me that life or being can only ever be present. It doesn't ever have a memory. And who is there to own a memory? Who does a memory refer to? Also with the fact that everyone and everything appears in awareness, so the idea that when we leave home in the morning to go to work, there is a house or a family back there outside of awareness, continuing to exist independently, can't actually be true. How could there be a back there? It's all what's appearing now, only this. All stuff I've read about, but it's probably hit home recently. Life is so much simpler than thought makes it seem, for sure. And for the dogs and for the animals and for the young children or babies, that's all there is. It's just what's happening. And there's not constantly being this other reality reconstructed of past and future, what I'm going to do, what I haven't done. I'm a bad person or a good person, or I don't have a big enough house, whatever it is. There's just what's happening. And life, there is no suffering in this. This doesn't suffer. It's only in time suffering happens. And even the in time happens here. It's not actually happening in time. But it's only an appearance of time, of past and future. I've done something wrong. And it comes with this energy. I'm guilty. I'm a bad person. I don't like them. They shouldn't do this. It's all in time. But for the dog, if there's anger or another dog annoying it, it just growls. And then it's got no sense that it should or shouldn't do that, or that the dog's going to have hurt feelings or whatever it is. There's just what's happening in each moment. Now, the human does have the ability to comprehend past and future, and that's not a problem. But what's happened in the human dynamic is who they are has become past and future, has become a person in the past and a person that's going towards the future. So there's nothing wrong with the fact that humans can comprehend a sense of past and future, but it's not who you are, and the past and future always arise here. It's not that this is because of the past and future. That's the assumption of the mind and a very simplistic way of thinking. Humans think they're so intelligent, but it's very, very simplistic the way they think. Sometimes I think the more cleverer people are the stupider people. And the simpler people are the less stupid people. Intelligence is way overrated in our society. It's just so overrated. And it's hilarious because in non-duality, intelligence is also put high. So it's put high in society. Intelligence is king. And then it's put high in non-duality. It's got fuck all to do with intelligence. It's the intelligence of being able to perceive time that's gone loopy and started imagining that you are somebody in time. Hi, Lucy. Oh no, that's not Lucy. It's Luri. Luri. Hi, Luri. Hi, Thomas. Have you read A Course in Miracles, and what do you think about it? I haven't read A Course in Miracles. I know bits and bobs about it. I think there's some nice stuff in there, but I think it really encourages the intellect. Which isn't necessarily a good or a bad thing, encouraging the intellect, but more than likely the mind will focus on in intellectual understanding, and it's in understanding this, and it gives lots of concepts for the mind to comprehend and think that it's understood something and got somewhere. And this is an absolute lost program. It's really not about intellectual understanding. That's just what the mind thinks. It's the loss of all those ideas of who and what you think you are, till there's absolute mystery. Not even the idea that you're awareness or consciousness or knowingness. Because even those are ideas too. It's just mystery. There's just what is. And there's not even someone that knows they observe or something observing, because that's still knowing something. That's still a division. It's a collapse of every idea. And A Course in Miracles has lots of ideas, and I think they say very simply it all up in like 2 sentences at the beginning of the book. And then they go on to write a very thick book about it. And then it gives exercises, so again the mind thinks, okay, so I'll do these exercises and we'll get somewhere, and this is going to help me and I'm going to get somewhere. And it's all concepts. It's all living in la la land, in a reality of somebody separate from the world, making its way back to non-separation. It's craziness. But there seems to be some nice stuff in there as well. Some quotes that I've heard that seem sweet. But so easily, this stuff, the mind always wants to jump on the bandwagon of what can I do. This is a lost program. Anything positive that the mind takes on isn't it. So it thinks, okay, everything's an illusion. That's the way this is. And it thinks that that's a truth. So I know that the Course in Miracle talks a lot about illusion. But that's absolute bollocks. That's a concept. That's a positive concept. That's not it. It's not about living in positive concepts. And if you took on anything Lisa says in a positive way, okay, what Lisa says is the way it is, then again, it's living in positive concepts about this, which isn't it. This is a loss. There's no middle way, oh, it's a getting and then a loss. This is absolute loss of everything. So me's always trying to get. Thomas says, okay, it's true, mystery is nice. When I get what you say, I can feel my body and feel good. Why do you think that is? I get the sense that as whenever any concept is lost, there's always a sense of relief. Because concepts are binding, they give this appearance of being contracted and tight. So I don't know, it's nothing to do with Lisa and Thomas, it's just that an idea falls away and there's because the natural way of life is no suffering. is not suffering. It's just pure beingness, and beingness doesn't suffer. But then then beingness dreams in this apparent suffering, which isn't really happening, and the suffering of I know things, I am somebody and I know things, and this contracted energy begins. And then as an idea falls away, that contraction seemingly dissolves, but it's never really happening at the same time, which is kind of crazy. Life is awesome. Haha, thank you. It is. When there's so much focus on the thinking and who I am and what I'm doing and where I'm going and what I've got to choose, then it can seem very agitated or uncomfortable. But as that dissolves, I mean, this is miraculous. There's always so much seemingly happening, and spectacularly, it's not happening at the same time. It's so mysterious. But when the me's got ideas of what it should look like and what I want my life to be and how I want to be seen, then it becomes very narrow, but which is another expression of life as well. But here there seems to be an exposing of that. Hi, Sir Steve. Hi, Lisa. I feel quite fed up with listening to spiritual teachers telling me what reality is. And it has been a pastime for a long time. But then I will go and listen in moments and find agreement or peace or something. Is there really anything to lose by forgetting, following, as part of me still assumes there is something to get? It seems that the answer is that whatever happens will happen, that I have no choice. The answer actually is nothing. It's even more than whatever will happen, or that you have no choice. It's nothing. And the other side of nothing is everything. Yeah, and fuck all those teachers telling you all those things, and I'm one of them. Fuck me. Well, actually, don't fuck me, but. It might be a bit saucy for this time of day. It's nothing to do with the teachers or the words that they say. It's just life's, although this is putting it into positive words, which is not really like this, but life's just playing the game of Lisa talking about it. So the answer to everything is nothing. And nothing's partner is everything. Everything and nothing. Maybe you could say, what is this? The mind's like, yeah, but Hi, Lisa. Just saying hi. Hi, Alex. Hi, Nick. It's all go for your brother's car. I got the insurance quote, and it's not that expensive. It's about double what you pay, which is fair enough with no claims with the fact that I haven't got any no claims bonuses. So Alex says, but it's the dropping of all ideas, not a few or a lot, but all. At the same time, there is no person doing this dropping, it's just happening. Can you explain this happening? It sounds like a miracle. Everything's a miracle, Alex. Everything. The getting of ideas, the creation of the me. It's all a miracle. How does it happen? So look at a flower. We can most probably intellectually describe how the flower appears, like how the flower grows and it needs food and certain minerals, certain bacterias, sunshine. But why it appears is a freaking miracle. Why do all these things happen? So how does the dropping happen? And then I'll tell you another really bizarre part of it. It's not happening as well. It's never happened. Because yes! Hey, Renee! Yes, call away. Oh, hang on, actually, Renee, I'm just going to call you because I've got to add you to the call. Just.
Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Renee.
Let's see. Am I echoing or no?
No, you're not echoing.
Okay.
It's funny, the last time I spoke with you, it was me that had the video on. Remember last time there was a voice coming from somewhere and we didn't know?
Yeah.
And it was on my side.
Sure.
A screen had opened in my computer and I didn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah, this is somewhat related to Carolyn's question, but but also related to what other people just said. But I know, I mean, only because I can relate to an experience where I, merged or everything. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm all scattery. I watched your Dream Bus interview, but I really resonated with what you were saying compared to what Tim was saying, in that only because that one time I experienced that, I wasn't, when I lost my whole body thing merged with everyone. So it was one big thing. I mean, It wasn't mine anymore, right? And then, but, okay, and that part of the question makes me want to know, now that I'm not don't have that sight in that way, or I wonder what's talking to me, like what's looking out your eyes. I mean, because I had that experience where everything was me, and now I don't have that sight, and so
it's that beingness. It's that essence of beingness.
Yeah.
that beingness that's even, it's there right now, Renee. It's the aliveness, and then the aliveness has got these ideas that give the sense that it ends at the end of Renee's body, and the world begins, and it's energetically expresses, it's so strong, that sense. It really gives the appearance, and then as the me drops, that beingness always was everything. And it's beingness right now looking back at each other from different seeming angles. But it's not even angles though, because as the me, when the me drops, there's not here and there really anymore. Just the position of the body is talked about as here, which is confusing.
Yeah.
Because everything is in that beingness. It's even more than in, because there's no out. There's just that beingness. And that's the thing. Once there's been an awakening, there's a resonance that happens that's beyond intellectual. And so in that talk, there was a resonance of, it wasn't really listening to the intellectual arguments, because if you did, Tim's makes way more sense. And he's really sweet. I don't mean to belittle anything he says. Like, he really, intellectually, he makes a lot of sense. But there's a knowing of this crazy contradiction of, and it's so strong, this knowing. It's beyond the intellect. It's beyond personal. It's bizarre really, because it seems as if it appears in a memory, but it's not really the memory that's knowing in these moments. It's something else.
Yeah, and yeah, it just is so hard. Like you said, it's so strong that it's like I try, and so I try so hard with my mind, these, there are no people,
and it might relax the mind, but it's just playing in the mind game but it's not a problem. It might relax the mind, it might not, it might create more thoughts. We never know really how it's going to go. But it's so convincing whatever the mind says. So the mind says, okay, I'm unhappy because of an external situation, because this person looked at me or said something in a certain way. And that feels like the most realist part of it. Like, that really feels like a reality. And then that energy dissolves, and it's seen that that's not the case at all, that the suffering comes from that idea that I am someone separate from the outside world. It's not from what the world does or doesn't do. Yeah. But it's so convincing when it starts playing the story. It's because they haven't done the washing up or whatever it is. Maybe it's something more serious, because my house is falling down. I've only just bought it and I've got no insurance. And it's going around and around. And it really feels like that's the problem, like 100%. And there might be some form of knowing, okay, hang on, this isn't the problem. But that energy is still strong, like when it's going. And then as it dissolves, the house is still falling down. And then there's just what is again.
Yeah.
But there's still the same situation. But it's so convincing, this storyteller. And it's the energy that's really convincing. It's the two things, the storyteller with the energy.
Yeah. And it seems okay. I mean, it seems like I can ride that wave, even though that shift isn't there, that, okay, this is what's happening. Yeah. This is, and I go until, some sort of thing that, I guess it's my nervous system, happens. And even so, kind of with Carolyn's question, I mean, things like, I might change my clothes 5 times before I go out or something, and I'm like, is that, that's kind of like trying to impress or whatever, and trying to get it right.
Yeah.
And is that...
But even the other side that's trying not to not do it is another part of the me dynamic that has an idea of how it should be, that I shouldn't change my clothes 5 times. It's all playing in a world of you having free will and choice, and you are separate from everything else that's happening. And it's not the changing of the clothes 5 times that happens. That sometimes happens here. Sometimes there's looking in the mirror and there's like, oh, no. That's not the right thing. But it's not that's a problem. It's the one that assumes that it's separate from the clothes, separate from the wardrobe, separate from the light, that's making choices. It's all one movement happening. It's crazy.
So I just have to go along with it's, I mean, and then, I do things, in those kind of nervous, whatever. I mean, not that, but throughout the, whatever, to drink chamomile tea, whatever, to calm down. I mean, and those things tend to help to me to stay more.
But they're only helping within the story. They're just helping calm down that energy of anxiety or that energy of, and there's nothing wrong or right with that. That will be more pleasurable if there's a calming down period. That will be less painful if there's a taking a moment out or just sitting still, more than likely. But it's still not you doing it, and it's that you energy.
It's like this piece in me, because when I had that experience, I mean, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't putting on clothes. They were just happening. But so that's why it's like I can't believe that I have no choice, in this, way I'm at, because I don't know, but it's like I trust you because I resonate with, what you say, because
But right here, right now, there's speaking happening, there's movement of hands, and there's nobody choosing because it's happening too quickly in that moment. Afterwards, the mind will be like, oh, I shouldn't have said this, I should have said that.
Right.
And it's crazy. It's just happening, just like the light or the wind.
Yeah, but even the mind saying, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, it's just happening too.
It's just happening too.
And it can't be stopped. The stopping game is just part of the game. And in a way, it's never happening. Although it really feels like it is, it's never really happening because it's always happening in some form of imagery and imagination. So the idea that about, say, talking about the changing the clothes or whatever, that's just an idea appearing now. An idea that of anything is, I mean, it's all ideas appearing.
Like nothing really happened.
No.
Kind of in a way.
Yeah. The only thing that ever is beingness, and in one half of beingness it's not moving at all, and then in another half it's appearing, the images are appearing and everything's appearing. And in the everything's appearing there's ideas of past and future, but it's never ever past and future. It's always this beingness which is absolutely silent and still at the same time, and always this I was going to say this moment, but this dreaded word moment, because the word moment in spirituality is so controversial. People use it in so many different ways. So everyone stays away from it now. But it's always this. It's always this. And this is absolutely still and everything simultaneously. And there's never been a Renee that was picking out clothes 5 times. There was never a Lisa that said that. Even though we both said it, it appeared in this right here. So it's such a craziness, this me dynamic, but it's taken as absolute reality normally. That's the reality, and it's an abstraction on reality, on what's happening. It's the abstraction. It thinks that what Lisa's talking about is the abstraction. My mouth's gone funny. Abstraction, but the me dynamic's an abstraction. Am I saying that word right? It sounds really funny when you say it slowly.
I get what you're saying. No, I understand the word abstraction, but what do you mean the me dynamic is an abstraction?
So the idea that there's a Renee there that's been in a spiritual process for how many ever years or changed her clothes is a thought appearing in this. It's not a reality.
Well, I want to get that. So it never really
happens. No. So even you saying so it never really happens has never happened is only appearing as an image or a sound or a thought in this present aliveness. Always.
It won't get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
The past and future are always appearing in this. It's never the past or future.
Yeah. Okay.
Ever.
Yeah. So it's really relaxing again, to just keep. Just do nothing. I mean, in a way.
But doing nothing is still doing something. It's impossible to do nothing. Movement's always happening, seemingly.
But I mean, in a different way, meaning trying. I mean, well, I guess I don't know. It's like even talking about it.
Yeah, it becomes a mindfuck.
Yeah, to try and say what I want to say can't come out, But I am really great. Like someone else was saying, brings peace, to go listen to you, or to, whenever I am having anxiety, to read, teachers and, like Anamali Swami, I don't know, that guy that with Ramana Maharshi or something, I don't know, like all these, but I'm not doing that.
No, And
And I
it's
don't know if
two
you're into.
sides that's happening, I'd say. There's the side of there's ideas collapsing, so and that gives a sense of relief because the ideas are a boundedness. The ideas are a boundedness. There's an idea collapsing. What can also happen though is sometimes something can be read, and that the reading the ideas. So say something like you can trust life or life is trustworthy, or so these are positive ideas. I tend not to speak in the positive, so I wouldn't tend to say something like life is trustworthy and there's nothing to fear, but I know some spiritual teachers do say that. And when that those are said and there's relief, what's happening is that idea that life isn't trustworthy is being relaxed. So life isn't, and that's not the same as what I talk about. I talk in the negative, it's a collapsing of an idea, but they're giving positive ideas in order to distill the negative idea or the ideas that life isn't trustworthy, and that's relaxing as well. And it's not wrong or right, but it's just different from the way I'm talking. I'm always talking about the collapse of ideas, and in a
Yeah,
way there is a collapse happening there, but there's a taking on a new belief system, which is then a
exactly.
new belief system. But hey ho, but that both sides can be relaxing, either when the ideas collapse or when the ideas are there's a positive idea that relaxes the idea of insecurity and
Well,
unworthiness.
I can't remember them anyways, the things I read. So
Yeah,
it's
I'm not, and I'm not particularly talking about him or anything, but I was just talking about that dynamic of relaxation. Like there's
yeah.
two sides of that, of when they
Oh, I
collapse
see.
um, and when they're just pacified because the positive idea is being given. Because most people walk around with the sense of not being good enough and a fear
Okay.
that, so they feel not good enough to be loved and they feel like they've been rejected in some way. And then also the fear of insecurity, of vulnerability physically. And so hearing the ideas that you aren't um, vulnerable, that you are secure,
It's
pacifies those ideas.
yes, right.
But that's still in idea world, that's still in a conceptual reality, and ultimately what's been talked about is the dropping of both sides, because beingness doesn't need a positive thought in order to be free. It's always free.
Hmm.
It doesn't need a belief system in order to feel better about being. Beingness is always enough. I don't know if I've
So
explained that very well.
yes, yes, I definitely, I yeah,
But I'm
I
not
think
meaning to diminish. If there's a sense of wanting to
well,
listen to that, then that's what's happening.
no, but in a way, I feel I'm somewhat addicted to it.
Yeah,
Like my ideal evening is just laying in bed at 7 p.m. reading these books, whatever.
yeah.
And it's like I can't,
And it's
and
not,
then
that's not wrong or right. That's what's happening.
yeah,
For
and then
some people, that's TV or it's eating chocolate, or and neither's better or worse.
yes, but I see what you just said. It's like at some point I can't, I don't, I have to go beyond those,
Yeah,
to see, there's something that I don't even know. It's a fear to, I don't know what it is, and I've been so huge in this, to slow me down, from wanting to keep running. But
yeah. And it all
yeah,
comes back to those two senses, that sense of feeling vulnerable. And it's kind of the same thing, the vulnerable and not good enough for love. They're kind of very similar. They're kind of the same thing. It's basically feeling rejected from oneness. And it goes that when there's that rejection, that me that starts and it feels rejected, it then goes to wanting love
yeah,
and then to avoid that fear of annihilation, of physical pain or death.
yeah. It's almost like in that, yeah, it feels like I just want to cry for a while or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's so crazy, but
yeah.
I
And
don't
God
know.
knows what's happening. Somebody said to me, "But who's God?" And I mean, when I say God knows, I mean like we don't really understand what's happening, but there's an energy arising out of speaking of sadness, because it is sad, that seeming story of separateness. It
Yeah.
can be a lot of pleasure, but ultimately it's always going to end in tragedy, really, because
Hmm.
nobody really exists. So it's,
Well,
it,
oh, thank you again so
thanks,
much.
Renee.
Thank you. Okay,
Much
we'll
love.
talk again. Much love. Bye.
Oh, oh, I think I just hung up on Colin and Caroline. Just call back if I've hung up on you and you need to hear through. Yes, you can ask now, Caroline. You can Yes, we can talk after the talk, but you can also call now, Caroline, if you want, if you've got a question. Yay, you all still there? Yes, we're still here. So we're just going to have a pee-pee break now. You can look at the clown. There is the clown. It's cold today. So, what was Lisa going to say? Oh yeah, if you want to ask questions, it's best to ask me through Skype, and my Skype address is Lisa Cairns 12, all lowercase letters. Lisa Cairns 12. So I just see one on Ustream. I'll just answer it now while I'm here. But if you can write them on Skype, it's a lot better. See you later, Nick. The reason that you can't hear me, Caroline, is you're most probably using the volume through Skype. So you might need to turn the volume up on Ustream. Oh, if you can't hear me, you won't hear that. Okay, so the question here is, if I dream about you tonight, will that person be any less real than the one I wake about? So I'm not suggesting this whole reality is a dream. I'm suggesting that the dream is that character that character that exists in time and space. So all there is nothing and everything. What is this? And then in this arises a dream of somebody in time, in past and future, somebody that went to the shops this morning, somebody sorry, here, I'll just call you Caroline. Oh, forgot what I was saying. So all there is what is, which is nothing and everything. This is happening and it's not happening. It's real and it's unreal. So this is happening and it's not happening. This is happening and it's not happening. Then in this, there's a dream of a character that exists in yesterday and today. And that isn't real. That's never happening, that character. It's a waking dream, and that's what I'm pointing to as an illusion. Your dream at night is exactly the same as this waking dream of a character. It's the imagination dreaming up a reality. In time. So this body is real and unreal. That character in the dream at night is completely fictional. It's a dream. The person that you imagine inside of here is a dream. The person that you imagine inside of that body is a dream. But this is happening and not happening. Okay? Hopefully that was clear. Hi, Julie. Okay. I have no idea how to pronounce your name. It is. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with names. Hadasunno. Hadasunno. I'm sorry. Listening to you, it feels like there has never been anybody inside this body. It's just a transient feeling, thought, physical sensations running around without anyone controlling it or has any control of it. Yes. Scientists now say that the body decides somewhere up to, I think it can be up to 10 seconds prior to the body moving or doing something. Or 10 seconds, I think it is, till the thoughts are consciously aware of it. Up to 10 seconds. It can be half a second. The body decides and then there's a conscious thought about it. It's not even the body deciding, but the body knows what it's going to do. So that one that's saying, I am doing this and I made a decision is always after the event or after the decision's actually been made. And it's not anybody deciding, it's just life happening. Okay. So this is from Lurie. Hi Lisa. Lisa, I have often seen and felt just being here, right here, and it's so relaxing, and it's not you seeing or feeling it, Lurie. That's the interpretation afterwards. There can be no you here. The you's always in time, the you's always in past and future. Anyway, though there this hum in the background that seems to come up, that sounds like my mind going, you can't forget anything. Be careful. Don't let anything slip. Don't forget the blah blah blah. It's like a fear of falling apart. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned a way to get rid of the ads, I think. What was it? Ad blocker, Lurie. Ad blocker. And you've got to download the ad blocker for the right computer and the right Internet Explorer that you use. Yes, I've seen lots of thoughts wandering through, and then I just start to get up, and the mind says, oops, body moving. And then goes, I am moving the body. It's just all happening. And the mind thinks it knows what the liberation process is, or what's happening, or where it's at, and it's all bollocks. It likes to tell stories of, got to be careful, you've got to do this, or you mustn't do that, or whatever it's saying. And it knows nothing, it's just thought. How could thought have any bearing on this? Thought is a tiny part arising in this. How could it actually accurately describe what's happening? It's become the centre focus, though. It's become the most important part. When you meet another human, it's impolite not to chat all the time and to exchange words and thoughts. That's how society's set up. It's put so much emphasis on thought, but thought is so narrow. There's so much happening. And this tissue isn't really a tissue. That's just a word put on it. This tea isn't really tea, it's just words put on it in order to describe something. And the most important thing in thought is subject-object. It works in duality and subject-object. I am somebody here observing something there, separate from something there. And that's an illusion. Separation is only in that language which has become an energy. This gives this energetic contraction, really giving the appearance of separation. But it's not all language's fault. But it does require this complicated thinking for separation to happen. Because I assure you, even though lots of people argue this with me, animals do not suffer. It's impossible. They haven't got the ability to think they are something. So therefore that energy of boundedness never begun. But at the same time, everything Lisa says isn't correct, because everything Lisa says is in words. So it's never it. Anyway. Haha, sorry for my name, it's okay, just call HUD. Okay, HUD. In this case, how love exists. So, love is what is. Love is everything. This is one big love affair. It's not that there's you there in relationship to the world. There's absolute intimacy with everything. Everything is this. Everything is oneness, is wholeness, is beingness. And it's dreaming up this reality where it's almost touching, but it's not. It's even beyond that. So it's all a love affair. Then there's this other thing that we call love as humans, and that's love based in stories. I love this person because they're my mother. I love this person because they're my lover. I love this person because they helped me once, or because they reflect my inner light, or whatever it is. And that's not love, that's conditioned love. That's love based in opposites, in stories and in language. And it's a fantasy. And there's nothing wrong with that fantasy if it's appearing. That's what's appearing. But that's in fantasy world, that's in the dream world. I baffled. Oh, you're called Jeremy today. And you got a picture. Hello, Jeremy. Jeremy. Oh, that's so funny. Synchronicity, is it only a part of the story? Yes. And the story loves the idea of synchronicity. Outside of this idea of my life, is it experienced at all? Thanks. No. Synchronicity belongs to somebody in a story that's synchronized with certain events. Synchronicity is a story. Okay, you answered the question. Thanks, Jeremy. Sir Steve. Off to work. See you later. See ya. By the way, the clown behind you freaks me out. Let's have a look. Oh, so that's good. When a bad feeling, this is from Thomas, when a bad feeling like fear arises, would you just allow it and feel it? And who is this person you imagine in Lisa allowing or feeling it? Or would you consider you're back in the mind game and hold a larger perspective? In both cases, it seems the only way is to allow whatever arises. Whatever arises is already allowed because it's appearing. And then the me's in there going, I will allow this experience. I will allow what's arising. It's already allowed because it is. And then the me's like, I am allowing the fear to arise. I am allowing lots of thoughts to arise. It's a bullshit of the mind. It tries to claim everything. I learn you can resist or not mean. Really? Is that the way it's experienced, Thomas? That you can resist something or not resist it? Who is this somebody that's imagining itself resisting something or not resisting something? Does that person exist? You can still contract yourself and suffer more, even if it's bullshit like you say. Come on. Can you, Thomas? So the next time you're suffering, you're telling me that you can get yourself out of suffering by not contracting. If this is true, why don't you just make yourself happy all the time, Thomas? And then also, how do you do that? How do you produce a thought that says, let's not contract? Or how do you produce that energy? Who is this one that's in the middle of everything saying, I am doing this? How do you do that? How is that done? Well, I've experienced it, yes. Oh, really? You've experienced creating a thought. So you are somebody that's below thoughts, creating thoughts. So you've experienced creating a thought, let's not resist this. How do you do that? How do you create a thought? The one is ultimately illusion, but it is as much there also by its ability to focus on thought. Focus is real too. So how do you do focus then, Thomas? Tell me. I want to know exactly how you do it. And if you can prove to me how you do focus and how you do thought, then I'll take the question seriously. Tell me how you do focus. How does Thomas move focus? How also, Thomas, another question is, how do you do speaking? Right now, how are you communicating? How are you thinking of words? How are you doing words? But we'll stick to focus. How does Thomas do focus? Okay, Thomas. The one is ultimate illusion, but it's as much there also. Oh, well, you just focus, you put attention somewhere. But I know what you mean. No, Thomas. Go on, tell me how you do it. If you are the doer of focus, surely you'd know how it's done. If you focus, if you put focus, if you're putting a moving attention, how do you do it? You're speaking really non-duality, real non-duality here, but awareness can display itself everywhere. That's why I realize people don't suffer anymore. Their focus isn't creating their suffering. I don't know what you mean by that. Just different from what I talk about. I talk about the end of this bounded energy of feeling like who you are is bound to this body. That you are inside this body and the world is separate out there. So I talk about the end of separation. I understand completely what you say. Do you, Thomas? But it's just a game. The game of La La Land is funny because you can use your focus and create. It's like you started the game, but then you stop because it's not real. Come on, Lisa. Lay low. So now what's happening, Thomas, is you're turning it back on Lisa. Instead of answering the question of how you focus, you've used all these words. I understand you completely. Come on, Lisa. This is what non-duality is. But yet you're not answering my question. I rarely ask questions. Normally people ask Lisa questions. I ask you one question, Thomas, and you've used lots of words to get out of answering it. Tell me how you focus. If you can't tell me how you focus, then it's a load of bullshit what you're saying. Well, I'm playing the game, lay low. So you're still not answering how you focus. We're going to just dart round the question again, are we? Shall I tell you why you can't answer it, Thomas? Because you're not doing focus. There's a you energy that's claiming focus and saying, I am focusing, I am doing that. The reason you don't know is because it's not you doing it. There is no you. So just while you're writing back, Thomas, I'm just going to answer Hud's question. So he says, so when I suffer, it's actually only a sensation suffering, not I suffer. I call suffering the I claiming suffering. And I call pain just sensation. And I call suffering the one that's claiming the pain. So when there is pain, often there is somebody that claims pain and says, this is my pain, and I call that suffering. I know other people speak differently, but that's what I call suffering. And then when that drops, that one that's claiming it, there is just sensation happening, there is just pain happening. And it doesn't belong inside or outside a body, or it doesn't belong to somebody, it's just sensation appearing in aliveness. Okay, I'll just finish with Thomas now. While I'm playing the game. You focus by putting your attention somewhere. So you're still not answering again, Thomas. How do you know your cup of tea is there? You just put your attention. Can you tell exactly how? No, because it's obvious, too obvious to tell. You are your focus. So again, Thomas, you're not answering the question because Thomas knows he's fucked by the question. So you are your focus. There's just playing with words. There is aliveness, and in aliveness things are happening. In beingness things are happening. But there's no one controlling it. Aliveness isn't a person, isn't a thought, isn't an idea. It's nothing and everything simultaneously. Focus is happening, but there's nobody controlling focus. There is no somebody. Focus is happening. Focus on the tea either happens or doesn't happen. It's not somebody in here. The somebody in here that's going, I focus, is an illusion. If it was you that's creating all this, then surely you'd know how it's being created. Like somebody that's drawing a picture, they can tell you, they drew this line here and they drew this line here, they drew that line that, but Thomas can't tell me how he does focus, or how he did focusing on the tea. It just happens spontaneously. It's an absolute mystery. So just while Thomas is writing back, I'll just move on to Colin. So one thing that gets this mind going is the variety of different teachings, traditional Vedanta, different perspectives, etc., all putting forward different viewpoints. It can keep thought so busy wanting to get it right. Yeah, and it never will be got right. This is never a positive thought. Ever. It's this. What is? And there's no way to get to what is. It's always what is. Well, you can choose how long you focus on your cup of tea. Just try it out. Come on, it's true. As much as the ego is false, you tell me there's someone shifting your focus and you just follow. You have a relative power over conscious being, even if the identification is bullshit. I assure you, Thomas and Lisa have no control. They are an illusion. There is tea, there is hand moving, there is looking at tea, and there's nobody in there controlling the length in which it's looked at. It's just looked at. Tell me how you do focus. Speaking happens, hearing happens, sight happens. It doesn't belong to somebody. All there ever is what is. And what is nothing, no one thing and everything. Suffering will always arise, and there's somebody in there controlling some part of life. Always. Why don't you want to try it out? Tell me you'll look at the cup of tea for 10 seconds and focus on it counting. Tell me if you make it. Come on. That still doesn't imply somebody's in here, Thomas. They can be looking at the cup for 10 seconds, but that still doesn't imply somebody's in here. I assure you, there is no Thomas and there is no Lisa. They are both an illusion. And that life is just happening. Focus is going here for 10 seconds, here for 3 seconds, here for 6 seconds, and it belongs to no one. You're speaking from the essential perspective. That's it. I am speaking from no perspective. Does just speaking happen, Thomas? You're French. You want to sit there and mentally masturbate. I can see you're a masturbator from your picture. You don't have to reject any other perspective because there are illusions. I don't feel like I'm rejecting anything. It just is words are coming out and there's not even really a knowing of what's being said. It's just it comes out. It's so sweet life when there's not that person in there that's controlling and wants to sound like this or wants to do that. Suffering only arises with that one that thinks it's controlling. And it's all about that element of control. And then actually it's not that then there's no control, because no control is a thought as well. It's just there's such a strong momentum I control. It's challenging that dynamic I control. Then notice how the mind doesn't want to describe how it does things. Because it can't. So this seems to get off the hook of everything. Everything we say and do, so no problem. Oh. Huh? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Yeah. Suffering, I assure you, the whole weight of suffering of me is always based on the assumption of choice. I got life right or wrong. I did really well and then there's a high. I did it really bad and then there's a low. And then also the other person, they've done wrong. They've done a bad thing to me. Or they've done a great thing. I'm absolutely madly crazy in love with them. I love them so much. It's always on this idea of free will. Yet, even just examined a tiny bit, free will is absolute illusion. Even if we look in the story, I'm not suggesting that there is a past or future, but even if we look in the apparent story, society believes in evolution and cause and effect. If there is an evolution and cause and effect, that means there's absolutely no choice and free will, because it means that every action is based on a previous action, which absolutely annihilates free will. And then if we look just here, in this, everything's spontaneously appearing and we don't know how or why and where it's coming from. There's just appearances happening. And there's this energy that's saying, I am doing it. I am focusing. I am doing the spiritual process. I am focusing on the cup for 10 minutes. But how could that tiny little perspective be the truth of anything? It's not even known where it appears from, that thought or that idea. There's not even anybody behind there saying, okay, I am going to think, I am going to do this. It just appears, I am going to do this. And the I is only ever found in the description of what it's going to do. But most people that talk about this subject, they never even challenge this idea of choice or free will. They point to consciousness or awareness or whatever, and that's all bollocks that's seen from here. This is a loss. It's not a getting of consciousness or awareness or getting an idea. It's the loss of that one that's in agony because it thinks it's got life wrong. That it's been rejected and got life wrong, and it's got to make life right in the future. It's got to get the right house, get the right woman or man. It's got to make up for its previous mistakes. But the me doesn't want to go out of that fight. I am the controller. Let me talk from the relative perspective. In the relative perspective, there is a me. In the relative perspective, I do choose. How? Renee says, about not being the doer of actions or thoughts. Yeah. I think that was covered. Most teachers now like to teach there is choice and there isn't choice, which is an absolute load of bull from here. Whenever that me thinks it's choosing, there will always be suffering. Of course there will be. There will be agony over making the right choice. And all suffering is always based on that illusion of a chooser. And that energy of I am in here. I am separate from everything else and I choose. If there's no separation, then there cannot be choice, somebody choosing. But it's never going to be a very popular message. Hi, Ken. Hi, Lisa. Have you decided on a date for Ireland, as I need to know when to put the kettle on? Yeah, I was thinking we'll just go for it in September. I'll work around the moving dates and everything. So just to everyone that's listening, if there is anyone on Ustream, to anyone that's listening, we're going to go to Ireland in September. So Colin says, how much do we even know about the number of chemical reactions in our brain every single second? How could there be choice? We have a very grumpy tomcat who never feels remotely guilty about his antisocial behaviour. The animals are great. It's like, ha, this is the impression of the cat slapping something. Okay, then how do you exist? Only because you are aware. Awareness is what you are. No, awareness isn't what I am. Awareness is an idea. And I don't exist. Life happens, which is the way it's always been happening. You think, or most people think, that they control their life, and they're in agony because they're always worrying about future and what they've done in the past and where they're going. And great pleasure can arise from that as well. But I am not awareness. You are not awareness, Tom. Awareness is a word and an idea. I've taken to calling you Tom now instead of Thomas. So I was just saying, Ken, that thumbs up for the beginning of September. So to anyone that's listening in Ireland, in Dublin, there'll be talks there the first or second weekend of September. Lurie used to think or wonder, though I know this isn't true, where was she before she came online as a person, and where's she going later? So she's constantly being regenerated and has never been here, and those thoughts freak her out and keep her wondering and seeking, though she's never existed. And none of this is true, and I wanted to ask you to expand on this, but that's just to get somewhere, and there's no place to get. And so this tail chasing appears to continue until it doesn't. Yikes. Yeah. And then there's drinking tea and there's no tail chasing, there's just absolute intimacy. And there's no Lurie looking. Then Lurie comes back and suddenly feels agitated about lack of money or future or too much money or where are you going to go on your holiday, whatever it is. And then there's suddenly somebody there again. And this energetic binding, this feeling of boundedness. But it's never even happening. It's always aliveness, it's always this, and this dream of a me is never really happening. It's just seemingly happening and being reconstructed all the time. I am someone. I am this body, I am this nose, these eyes, these actions, this past action, future action, this house. The chooser, the doer. So the 7th and 8th of September. Have some more story about this if you want to add me to the call. Thanks for showing the clown. Was wondering about it. Call me if you like. Oh, yes, sure, Karen. I'll just add you. Took a while to get round to you. You can just call as well. Sometimes there's not other people online, but it will get my attention. Hello.
Hi,
Hi, Karen. I like your picture. Hello.
Switch off the Ustream. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, if you switch off the volume for Ustream, you can just choose the volume and that works. Yeah.
I have no idea where that picture comes from, by the way.
Oh, you didn't put it on there?
No. That's not me, and it's not the person who owns this computer, so I have no idea. But it doesn't matter, does it?
It's a very cute face, a panda face.
Oh, that one is mine, so I don't know what I'm seeing. Yeah, so it's so funny to call, because I don't have it feels so unlogical. I don't know, to even ask a question, because it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it doesn't.
And
but yeah, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. So it happens. And we've talked, or I've written, and you've talked before about this the story happening in a way that there is this knowing that all of what you're talking about is as it is, and this resonating of it, and at the same time the story is still happening with some eye contraction.
Yeah.
And the funny thing, it's perceived as funny here, that is happening now, is that after there seems to be a sort of understanding that the spiritual path that Karin used to be on is all nonsense, and at the same time also there's nothing wrong with it, because that's just what's happening.
Yeah.
But through letting go of the belief that this search, this spiritual search, has to lead anywhere and should be better than anything else, some things are coming up again that used to be suppressed before that.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny that then things like, at the moment it would be working out physically, and in earlier days that would happen because of a belief that I should be good looking to get positive attention.
Yeah.
And at the moment that really makes no sense at all, and still it's coming up again. After it hasn't happened, because it seems as if it didn't happen because someone decided that you don't have to get somewhere, so don't do this, because it's like you're only doing it to get somewhere. And now things are happening that seem within the story seem to only come up because a person wants to get somewhere. And still,
but it's notably getting less, it's becoming more naked in a way, like because there'll be dynamics happening, so whatever it is, whether it's wearing clothes or makeup, and there's an idea that you want to be attractive or something, and then a spiritual idea comes in and says, oh no, you shouldn't do that because it's not going to make you happier in the future, it actually makes you unhappy, or whatever the psychological reasoning is. So there's a suppression of that act. There's a suppression. Exactly. And then as that gets peeled off, it actually doesn't matter whether the body's exercised to look good or not look good. It's absolutely irrelevant. There's just an urge arising to exercise or not. But if that but as the ideas are peeled away, there still might be an idea in play of wanting love for the way the body physically looks, but it's becoming less filled with ideas. It's becoming more innocent in a way. if you see what I mean. And so then, like, what spirituality was doing was then giving a different idea which suppressed that, if you see what I mean. So working out or weightlifting is bad because it's spiritually not going to progress me.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it suppressed that sense of feeling like you wanted to work out to be attractive. And there was that sense in there of feeling not good enough, which it was covering up, or whatever it is. But ultimately, at the end of the day, even when that idea of wanting to be attractive to other people falls away, then working out could still happen. It's never you creating it. There's just all these filters on top of it.
Yeah.
Or putting on makeup or looking very sexy could still happen, but it's no longer somebody in there that feels incomplete without it.
Yeah, I guess the strange thing about it is because when the idea would come, oh, let's put on makeup, for example, which I haven't done for years and probably won't do, but if this thought comes up at the same time, the thought comes, why would I?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? So it's like this two-way conversation.
Yeah. And it's done because it's done, not because of. And that's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, exactly.
But spirituality, in the questioning of ideas, new ideas get taken on. So it gets questioned, the idea as to why makeup's worn, or why you wear makeup, and then a new idea comes on. Oh, I shouldn't wear makeup because it's feeding insecurity or something, and that becomes a new idea. It becomes a new religion, and it's just another filter in which life is lived through. Another filter on top of everything, and then it just happens or it doesn't, and it doesn't matter either way. Nothing's better nor worse, and it happens because that's the play of things, not because of it will complete you in the future or it will get you further spiritually or whatever the ideas are.
Yeah, it's so hilarious.
It is. I know. There was many years of being Buddhist here, and I used to shave all my hair off and not wear makeup, and I used to only wear baggy clothes, and I used to wear a bra that pushed my boobs down, and like I felt like I had to be completely unsexual. And then that went, and then there was a going back the other way again, and then that like going back and wearing lots of makeup and wearing tight clothes, and then that all fell away, and it kind of just became whatever was happening. But it's funny, all the ideas we take on. I remember telling my friend when she came to the Buddhist center, like at the time, and I really remember believing it. She was wearing makeup, and I was like, well, it's not really appropriate. People will think that they'll question why you wear makeup or something. And I remember and she felt really uncomfortable then going to the Buddhist center with makeup on. And I remember thinking it was really true that the right way to go was to not wear makeup or to not look attractive to the opposite sex. It's funny, these ideas that get picked up.
And it's not more true than anything we might have picked up as children or teenagers and thought that was real. So it's just going the other way with the same illusion.
Yeah. Just living through more concepts, and then it's either makeup gets put on or it doesn't get put on, or baggy or tight, and neither's right nor wrong. It's just whatever appears. It's so funny.
Yeah, the funny thing here is that there was this belief that if understanding or knowing about there is no person doing it and it's just happening, then certain things wouldn't happen. And there's the observation now that actually things happen that really seem very much ego-driven, but there just isn't the belief that someone is doing it, but at the same time there is it's happening in a way that it seems very much more ego-driven than it used to be when the belief was there that you shouldn't do that because it is. So it's such a as you might say, a mind fuck.
Yeah, and there's no way in which it looks. It doesn't look like a calm, peaceful person.
No.
Like I used to have the belief that people wouldn't be grumpy, and then that got completely shattered. It's not anything. It's whatever arises in the moment, without that one that thinks I am doing this, and that one that's trying to fill a hole. That's trying to fill this sense of lack. That's trying to do this for the future in order to get something, to fill a hole, to fill that sense of unworthiness. So it's funny.
Yeah, the way you are talking, sometimes it sounds here that as if the belief of the I is totally gone, and maybe that is completely how it's experienced on your side. Here, actually, like the experience of an I or a contraction and a comment on you should do this and you shouldn't do this and this is right and this is wrong is still happening. And at the same time, during that happening, there is the knowing that it's not true. So it's not a feeling as if the experience of I has
Gone.
fallen away or dropped or is gone. But while it's happening, there is this
lack of energy in it.
Yeah, somehow, or no, not even that, because there can be really a lot of energy going into it and thinking about it and concepts being like thrown around, but still this feeling of or presence or awareness, we both agree that these words don't capture it, but that is there, that it's all bullshit and it's just life happening, and there is no one really in there doing it, but still the dynamics is still happening.
Yeah. And I don't know the way I talk about it, or if there's, this is going to sound really crazy, but if there's a me here or not, it's unknowable.
Yeah.
Like there is no me ultimately, there is no me or you, but then there's nobody that could even know that either. Isn't that a real contradiction? There's this guy that I've been having a lot of back and forwards with emails about this. He's like, but you must know if there's a me. It's impossible to know that. Who would know it?
Exactly.
But ultimately, when we're talking in the positive, there is no you or me, but it can't be known. That's crazy.
We can only talk within the story, so we're only talking bullshit anyway.
Yeah. Well, great to finally speak with you, Karen. We've had a lot of hellos on the on Skype and through email.
Yeah, well, actually, my connection wasn't so strong, so it was a bit hard to have a
chat,
continuous talk on Skype. That's why.
Oh, nice.
That's also why I'm not going on video, because it's still not very, very strong.
Can you see me in Skype or only through Ustream?
Yes, I do. No, I see you on Skype. And next to you, I see still this picture of a woman I've never seen in my life, and that I thought was the picture you are seeing about me.
Oh, I see. No, that's Caroline.
I don't know how this picture comes there.
No, Caroline's on Skype as well. I've got lots of people can go on Skype, and she's just listening through Skype.
Ah, so that's Caroline.
Yeah, that's Caroline.
With a dark shirt with some white stripes.
Yeah.
Oh, hi Caroline. Nice to see a picture to the white.
But she's got her volume muted, so she can't speak back to you. Nice.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
Oh, well, good to talk to you.
Yeah, you too.
And I'm just going to go over to Caroline now, because she says she has a question. Okay, but you can stay on Skype if you want, or just hang up, whichever you want.
Good.
So you can put your volume on now, Caroline, and speak.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just fighting today with Skype and Ustream.
It's not working very well?
I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm getting a little bit angry with myself, but it doesn't matter. But
No.
I just had this pressing question which I needed to ask, and because the technology, I'm not managing it properly. I'm not talking. So there is a bit of anger in me right now at this moment.
Yeah.
Although my question is more sad than angry. And it's something that I've become aware recently. And I'm just wondering if it has to do with the high that I have been going through the last month since I started watching your and listening to Lisa, and that's the thing that is really making me feel uncomfortable, a real fraud. Is that I've realized, I mean, it's amazing working for 50 years and realizing suddenly that I project in others my emotions, my feelings, my ideas, and what is happening at the same time is that the longing for when Caroline was not around is growing. My English is failing me. It is becoming much stronger, and so I have now the longing plus all this projection and reinforcing separation instead of just a few days ago there was no one around and it was all bliss and peace and innocence, and now back to
Longing again. Yeah.
It's like, do you say in English Russian mountains?
No.
You know, mountains which go up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's quite tiring for my body, and it's quite located in the area of the heart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because there is suffering, and then there is great bliss, and then suffering again, and then it's a little bit of chaos now.
Yeah. And back to the first part of what you said, which was oh, the mind's gone blank.
The anger because of I couldn't work out the machine, the Skype.
No, it was after that bit.
The projection in others of all
my
emotions.
That realization, although it's a positive realization, but seeing that everything you see in another is just part of the Caroline story. It's not another. And it's not yours as in like you are Caroline. Caroline is something that arises in aliveness. That's not who you are. So I can't say it's yours, but there's this Caroline dynamic that arises. And then all these other characters arise in that story of Caroline. And it's all one story. There's no others. Everything that you see in Lisa or in anybody else is always in the Caroline story, because who is that? It can only ever be in the Caroline dynamic. And the way that Caroline exists is through comparison with others. So it's all Caroline in a way. It's all the Caroline play. So everything that's ever seen in Lisa isn't Lisa.
It's Caroline.
Yep. But it's not Caroline as in, I'd rather say, although you could say Caroline, I'd rather say the Caroline story, because there is no solid Caroline, but it's in the illusion of Caroline.
Yeah.
And the others always, the comparison to others gives a sense of Caroline. This relationship with others of who you see in Lisa or who you see in your husband gives a sense of Caroline. But there are no others. There's nobody else. So that's one part, and then you moved on to the ups and the downs, and this bliss, and then the contraction again.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening. The sense is sometimes that can get more extreme. There can be a falling, and then not saying that it is a positive thing as bliss, but as that energy of me falls, it then longs even more extreme at the other side. Not all the time, sometimes it can be very gentle, because then nothing in this world completes it anymore. So then it longs even more for the end of the me. It's no longer longing for anything else.
Exactly.
So it can seem, in some seeming stories, to be more dramatic.
Yeah.
So there's a falling, and then there's just what is.
Yeah.
And then there's the longing that comes back and gets even more extreme.
Yes.
It's a hard play, that part.
Yeah.
I know Tony, you see Tony and he calls it the awakening, and he says sometimes that that's the worst bit, because there's no longer pain relief in the pleasure. The pleasures don't bring pain relief, because it's known that getting the food or getting the whatever it is isn't gonna relieve it. There's nothing that can relieve that longing.
You know, maybe now that you're saying this, I realized that I looked at the history of watching YouTube for the last month, and I think I've watched 230 times your YouTubes, and maybe I've at the beginning there was this such clarity, and well, there is still, but maybe it's like eating too much chocolate. You can get a bit of an indigestion, you know. And I wanted too much, and maybe I should calm down a little bit. You know?
Well, it will either happen or it won't, and neither way is right or wrong.
Yeah, you absolutely. I know it's.
Yeah.
I know intellectually all this, and I know because there was the experience of Caroline falling away. So yeah, it makes sense. I'm happy that I've asked the question, because it really helps me your answer. Yes, very much so. Thank you, sweetie pie.
Thank you. Do you want to call again, Phyllis? I see you called, or do you want me to answer this question? I can answer it now live. I feel awake, but now what is happening is my friend is in rage and is angry. This is what is happening, I get that. If I am awake, then I wouldn't tolerate this anger, would I? But I have no control over what happens. I feel upset, the peace of mind is gone. So maybe that's just what's happening. There is no me to choose and unchoose, but I can feel being upset arising. What Caroline means is roller coaster. In French is Russian mountains. Yeah, I think Caroline speaks French as well, Phyllis. So yeah, we don't have it in English, but I get the sense you mean, roller coaster. Yeah, so what's happening is there is discomfort, and then the me starts to tell the story that if you didn't let him be angry, or if you controlled his anger or said no to his anger in some way, then there wouldn't be discomfort arising. But it can't be got away from. If there's discomfort, then that's what there is. There's discomfort. The me's always trying to look out. Whenever it's trying to think a better way in which life should be, then it's for sure the me's trying to avoid something. Someone's just asking in between that if I come to the US. That's Lurie. No, not at the moment. I nearly did in June this year, but I pulled out. It's quite far, and the energy for it didn't come up so much. I'm open to coming to the US. She's like me. She feels like being on a roller coaster. This is Phyllis. Yeah, I can call you Caroline. I'm going to finish in a second now. I think that's all the questions done, and we've been going for 2 hours now. Well, that's a wrap then. So I'll put it on YouTube if anyone wants to see it again. And the next time that I'm doing a talk is on Wednesday. So this Wednesday coming up. And then tomorrow I'm doing talks in London live. So you can look that up on my website. And then I've just announced some talks in Ibiza, and I'm just about to announce some in Ireland. So you can look on my website for that. Okay, guys. Much love. Bye.